Welcome in, GPS to God. We are so glad that you are back. And if you have been with us the last few weeks, yes, we are still in Job.
Back to Job.
Still going. We are 16. Chapter 16 is where we are picking up. So, you know, we're making some progress here. But we may be close to halfway today. I'm guessing we're going to be close to halfway.
Say we make it.
Yeah. If,
what is it,
you know,
40, 42?
40, if we can hit up to 20, I think we'll be doing all right.
Okay.
So, but we're glad you're here. We are still going. Job.
Makes me feel good. I studied past 20 on.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I have notes through, man, I'm rocking straight through chapter 22 with my notes. So.
Yeah.
But GPS to God, that's the podcast you're listening to. Glad you're here. If you didn't know where you were listening, now you do. Mailroom at gpstogod.com. You can email us there. You can also reach out on Instagram. We'd love to hear from you, however you want to do it. I think you can just drop us a line on the website, too, and that goes, you know, somewhere. But
somewhere.
Yeah, we'll check that out,
Something
too.
I don't check.
To the abyss.
Yeah. But
To the great unknown.
Mm-hmm.
who we have with us today? We have Daniel Sanders, Stefano Patterson, Ryan Gotro, and back with us for a real full episode appearance, Mr. Ty Dean.
Not just opening up a door and going, hey.
Throwing
all right,
candy,
I'm gone.
Throwing candy. And
Hey, y'all ever seen a soccer ball?
Snack guy. Yeah. Hey, that was gospel presentation ball for ESL.
That definitely trumps podcast.
Yeah.
I
sure.
tried to kind of look in to see, okay, when's Daniel going to like stop talking so I could have a little point. And I was like,
Never
this dude's
happened.
Oh, he did that
He should
before.
keep going.
Before
So I
he
just
opened
had
the
to
door.
barge in. I was like,
Right. Could have called in. Should have called in and said, open the door.
yeah, I should have.
We were deep in
Hey,
conversation.
y'all want to have a special guest? Here I come.
The bad part is not on the microphone. Could not hear
Of
anything.
course.
he said.
Yeah, no.
We could hear it, though.
Yeah.
The listeners.
Yeah.
That's
we have
how
enough. Do we have an extra mic somewhere? We're going to hook it right over there and just have it next to the door. So when someone shows up, boom, we got you.
I did that
Unfortunately,
on purpose.
there are times where many, many people are right outside that door. And
Sure.
I'm guilty of looking every time.
Yeah,
It's cleared out tonight, though.
it is.
They're out
It
there
is. So,
tonight.
Did they even have class over there today?
well,
No.
you know,
No.
let's not get into specifics that no one else cares about here.
Well, no one else probably knows. People
Exactly.
that are
So they
listening.
don't
Sorry,
care.
my fault. Guilty as charged.
But
They care. They care about everything.
But Job,
Okay.
we are in it. Let's see. We did the intros. We gave out the information. We're rocking and rolling. So
Let's do it.
We had Brandon and Zach with us for a couple episodes there, and Ty cracked a case. He said, "Hey, I want to know some inside information." You guys kind of gave made a joke of the same guys were going to come back for the next episode. Did y'all record multiple episodes at the same day? In fact, we did.
Did.
That's a very astute listening there, Ty.
Well, considering last week was when you recorded those and I barged in through candy,
Well,
just made a little assumption.
yeah. Unfortunately, no such gifts today, it doesn't look like. I think we still... Also, the entire time, I called those things airheads.
You did.
I referenced it
You did. Even after Zach.
6-7 times.
Somebody
notice
somebody
that.
corrected you, and you went right back to
Was that-
back there.
Was that episode 1 or 2 from yesterday? From last week?
Maybe
Put the
both.
airheads.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
But,
I was going to say, because if I go back and watch 1, then I'll know the reference. But
yeah, I was calling them airheads the whole time, and somebody did say warheads. And,
I didn't even notice you said airheads.
Yeah.
It might be the episode that comes out.
that's right.
this
We talked
coming
about
week.
that. Somebody, you were talking about warheads and the
Yeah.
sour and all that kind of stuff.
We still have a couple on the shelf over here, but we're going to leave them on the shelf because that
I want one.
It was so distracting.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll
Give him a
Give me a green one.
lemon.
What are they? Lemon.
Green is apple. Lemon, apple.
Which one do y'all
There's no
think?
more.
Which one do y'all think is the worst?
Probably
go with
lemon.
Throw me a lemon too.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see how long it takes
Probably
before
not.
we make a face?
I'll
you
make a
prob-
face right away.
right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like sour stuff, but I'll make a face.
They do hit you kind of hard there. They're
Yeah.
okay. You're
They're
like, yeah, it's
stout in the
sour.
beginning.
And then it gets really sour.
I'm already
and then
like,
he
Ready?
doesn't even have a drink. All right. Well, let's see who makes a face first. Ryan looking for somewhere to dispose of the trash.
Ty's trying not to
He
make a
is so
face.
trying to hold it in.
My face is turning red.
Really?
That it is.
I mean, he's not
There it
tearing.
goes.
He's not tearing
Yeah.
up, but he's got the squinty
He
eye.
does. He does. It
My cheeks are tightened up.
immediately.
I can't talk.
Not bad. That's a good one.
So,
Put that in my pocket so I don't bug with it.
That's awesome.
but yeah,
I felt a glisten. That's about it. I felt a little glisten.
Ty's face is turning red. Yours is turning pale.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check my heart rate.
But we had Zach and Brandon with us, and we made some predictions for the Final Four
Yes.
a couple episodes ago. No, you picked UConn. You went blue.
Yes,
blood.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
congratulations.
I did. I'm a lot better with 4 teams than I am with the full field.
So who ended up
I
winning?
had the worst.
Who ended up winning on your bracket?
Well, we do like a family bracket, and Lori's brother.
so Sunday
Blake.
school.
Oh, Sunday school was Katie Sanford.
Okay.
For the first time ever, like, I don't know how, like, you get the max points. Like, I think in the Sweet 16, I had maxed out.
Wow.
Like 33 out of 33 points, and like it was the rest of it was X's. Like I was done after the Sweet 16. No correct picks after the Sweet 16. It's the worst attempt at a bracket ever.
I saw something on Instagram, and it was like saying that all these people had already won their bracket contest before the Elite Eight because everybody just gotten it wrong.
We also made some picks for golf coming up. The Masters is actually this weekend. So we recorded 2 episodes, so we kind of got a little bit ahead of our predictions. But
Yeah.
we'll let you guys in. So I went crazy talk here. I went live.
Oh yeah,
all
you
the
told me
live
that.
golfers, live versus the field, and I just hope it's fire and chaos and all kinds of craziness.
I went Tiger.
And that was my other. I'm good with Tiger.
I almost would think it would be Scheffler.
So it's
He's kind of like one of the favorites, right?
Oh, that's who
what
I
are
was
the
going with.
what are the odds are? Like what are the odds of?
He's got the best odds. He's
Is
like
that who it
plus
is? Okay.
700. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I would say Scotty Scheffler. I love Scotty Scheffler. I'm good with Tiger winning it. And then if the live guy were to win it, I'd go with Dustin Johnson. I'd want him to win it.
My daughter did a bracket. She's never done a bracket before. She's a senior in high school, and she was asking me picks. I guess she maybe made some picks late, or they were picking the first weekend. I don't remember, but she said Auburn. Who you like in the Auburn game? I said who do they play? She told me, and I said what are their rankings? I said I'm probably going to pick Auburn, but what are their rankings? She said what do you mean rankings? It's like those little numbers next to the team name. They mean something. She's like
their
what?
seeds.
I said, yeah, what is? She's like, well, it's an 8 and 9. I said, so that's a toss-up game. It really doesn't matter. Give me Auburn. And she said, I picked a 16 seed to win 3 games.
Well, you
That would
did
be
awesome.
fun. She did good. Maybe the first round.
She missed the wrong 16 seed.
Oh, okay.
But
dang.
she ended up winning the entire thing because she had UConn win the whole thing. She won the prize for her class.
And she
That's
didn't
awesome.
know anything about
She
him.
knew nothing.
She just
Wow.
that's always how
Speaking
it
of-
works.
Yeah.
You hear someone winning their office pool, and it's like I picked the mascots, right? It was the colors, or
the
I'm like,
colors and stuff.
and
maybe
she
I should
also
start doing that.
Yeah,
she
Close your eyes and go.
yeah.
Texas CC Texas A&M CC or something like that.
Yeah.
And she
Corpus
said,
Christi.
what does that mean? And I was like, well, you know how you're going to University of Tennessee and they have a UT Chattanooga? You picked UT Chattanooga. She's like, oh, my goodness. She did so
You picked
bad.
the rival.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she picked a community college.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
But she ended up winning, and her grand prize was a bag of mini Twix.
It's like
Could have been a high
candy
five,
that
so
that's a
Twix sounds
candy
pretty good
that
to
I
me.
really
Not a Twix
never
fan?
have enjoyed. It's like a Twix.
I like a Twix.
I like
Like I'll
Twix.
go through a
Really?
Twix mood though. Like either
Right.
I'm all in or I'm like, now pass.
Interesting. Never done it for me.
So tonight we were down the hole and they were doing a Chubby Bunny competition.
Down
But-
in the hole is
Sorry,
the
the
space
youth
where our
with the youth.
our youth children meet.
Yeah, so with the youth, they were doing Chubby Bunny, and it was on a projector, and it was someone was saying it, and like as with marshmallows in their mouth,
So
and you had
if
to guess
somebody
it.
doesn't know what Chubby Bunny is, what is Chubby?
Basically, you have a word or a phrase that you're supposed to say, and then you have marshmallows in your mouth to where it's not clear to hear, and you're supposed to try to say it as clear as you can. And I guess I don't know. I mean, I've always just played it where you just try to say it. I never actually played in a competition where it's
Try
like,
and
oh,
say
who won?
Chubby Bunny.
or Chubby, or just say Chubby Bunny. This one, there was actual phrases they were supposed to say. And the more you didn't get it, like guessed, it got clearer and clearer and clearer. So like if the word was Adam, then it'd be like, Adam. Like it'd get clearer as you go in.
Is this on the
It was on
video?
Like, it was on video.
Oh.
They're not
Yeah.
actually putting marshmallows in their mouth.
Oh.
It was just funny.
Is that against child rules now or something?
Well, he was like he didn't want anybody to choke.
Yeah.
That's probably smart. Those
We've done Chubby Bunny before.
Yeah,
though.
that's down there.
The problem is you need a lot of
Wouldn't trust
marshmallows.
those.
But the reason why I bring
down
that
there.
up is because one of the words was Three Musketeers, and they finally answered it because it was like just clear as day, and they were like, "What is that?" And I was like, "You don't know what a Three Musketeers is?" I mean, I knew, but I'm older. Like, you know what a Three Musketeers is, right?
You know the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Three Musketeers.
I don't know. You and movies are.
It is sketchy sometimes, but you
Probably
know.
my least favorite candy bar, I would have to say, is the Three Musketeers.
See, I would say
Butterfinger.
Twix. Butterfinger's your least
gosh,
favorite.
I cannot stand Butterfinger.
You are out of your mind.
Man, that's wild.
See, I don't think that's crazy. Like
My favorite candy bar is
That's
something y'all probably
that's
never
like
even heard
probably
of.
like top 5 for mine.
Before you get to that,
Probably.
here's why I think that is crazy. Because they have Three Musketeers Blast at Sonic. You can get it at Dairy Queen and a Blizzard. You can get it at
Half
all
time you're
these
getting a
different
cake.
places. You ain't getting a Three Musketeers Blast at Sonic or nothing like. It's a top rated candy bar.
you're talking about Butterfinger. You said
Butterfinger,
Three
yeah.
Musketeers.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Like you
can
couldn't go somewhere and
you
get
can
that.
get a
You can't get
Butterfinger
it.
Blast.
Oh, yeah, I
you
know.
can get a Butterfinger
Yeah, you said
Blizzard,
Three Musketeers.
You
but
can't
you
get
cannot
Right.
get
a Three
that's how
Musketeer
low
Blast.
Three Musketeer is and
Yeah,
how
I
high
gotcha.
Butterfinger is.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Just never have?
No.
Never?
Oh, cannot stand it.
Really?
No.
I hear you.
Since I was a kid, and I tried it, and like Butterfinger ice cream, and I can't none of it.
That's fun.
Yeah, my favorite candy bar y'all probably never even heard of before.
I'm gonna say that's not true.
Yeah.
It's made in
So that's
Ireland.
probably-
Okay, getting truer by the month.
You might be able to now buy it at Walmart or something like that, but typically you can only get it like World Market or something like that. It's called a Crunchy. Have you ever heard of that before?
I'm not ringing a bell off the name
so
alone.
it's
so.
like honeycomb on the inside, and then it's chocolate on the outside. But it's a hard.
Interesting.
It's kind of like a Butterfinger as far as like it's hard crunchy.
It's like a specialty thing. It's,
I don't get it very often.
Well, I mean, there are candies in other countries that we
Right.
don't have here.
right.
Yeah,
Chip flavors, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
look it up. It's a good one.
When I've been overseas before, you'll see like Lay's potato chips that are all over
yeah.
the U.S. here. You'll see different flavors. You're like, man, I've never seen that before.
They're hard to buy too.
First time I saw ketchup flavored Lay's was overseas.
Wow. Yeesh.
They have them here now. You can see them on occasion. Pass on that is my opinion.
Yeah,
I was not a fan.
Yeah.
Some of those you think you go to like Amazon or something like that and try to buy them from overseas, and they're difficult to find sometimes. Or you have to buy like 50 of them because they'll make you buy them in bulk.
Ketchup flavored Lay's.
I'm a Lay's fan.
Yeah.
Not of the ketchup flavor.
No.
I don't think I'll be a fan of that.
I mean, there's some flavors that are popular in Canada that you can't get, that are hard to get here.
Yeah.
Like my friend is All Dressed. I think Ruffles. I think it's Ruffles All Dressed is the name of it. The flavor. And it's kind of like a barbecue sauce and I can't remember it, but it's like a mixture of flavor, like a barbecue with something else in it. But they're kind of hard to find here too. But he's like, man, these are,
You've tried them before?
yeah.
What do you think is hard to get elsewhere that's easy to get in the U.S.?
I don't know, but that is going to be coming through like crazy on the recording.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
I'm trying to adjust it to where I can see what's in front of me
impossible.
and also talk.
Yeah. That's the battle.
Welcome into the behind the scenes nature here of our pre-show discussions of make sure you're talking to the microphone and this and that. But I want to see my notes.
Do this.
When you said dressed, I
kinda hard.
immediately thought of Russell and his
Same.
ridiculousness of dressed eggs.
Dressed eggs.
Deviled eggs chips.
Yes.
It is a weird, like it has nothing to do with the flavor, or here it does, and it may
Yeah.
mean something in Canada, like Skyline chili. They say all the way or 5-way or something.
Yeah.
Like that means nothing to me, but people that know that chili know.
Yeah.
Well, that means cheese and onions and this and that.
Kind of like Waffle House.
Scattered,
orders.
covered, and
There
smothered.
you go. Yeah. Waffle House. That's a good Southern reference right there. Waffle House hash browns. What
For
you
those
say?
of you who don't
Scattered,
know,
covered, and smothered.
Scattered is no ring.
Mm-hmm.
Covered is cheese. Smothered is onions.
Yep.
Bam.
might need to explain Waffle House to our
Plain hash
international
browns, please.
viewers. I don't
Awful
even know.
waffle?
I don't even know how to explain it to them.
Awful waffle.
How do you,
Like what is it?
Waffle
Do you
House.
call it a
Is it-
restaurant?
is it a diner?
Or is it a diner?
I would
So
consider
what's
a diner.
Put you on the spot.
what's the
Ty.
difference between a restaurant? Well,
What would you?
I know the difference. I still consider a
More
diner, and
diner
a
or-
restaurant kind of the same.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's a. I'm gonna somewhat answer your question. I'm gonna
Okay.
say it's a fast food diner. Diners can't really be
Fast.
fast food. I would say.
Okay.
But I would say
I'm-
Waffle House. If you're
I'm
putting it in
actually
a
following
category,
you. I'm
it would
following
be a
you.
fast food diner.
I'm actually following
Even though
you.
it's not really fast food.
Is it
makes-
considered
that
a
makes
diner
perfect
because
sense
it's
to
kind
me.
of like around where it's getting cooked,
I think,
but not like Kabuto's or sorry, I'm giving all these references that no one's gonna know, like Japanese steakhouse kind of
Hibachi.
setting. Hibachi. There we go.
Yeah. You
I don't
said
know.
the difference between what is the difference between a restaurant and a diner?
I
Is
think
there-
if you say diner, people think of small Waffle House style. You shouldn't use the
Basically,
same thing.
no
you're trying to
explanation.
define
Like
in
your
the
mom
definition.
and pop trailer.
Mom and pop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trailer. I like
Okay.
it.
You know,
Okay.
diner.
A hamburger
you.
stand.
What you see
got you.
in Men in Black when
Yes.
Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith
Yes.
meet up.
I got you. So
Back to the
Size.
Future, they're in a diner, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Back to the
Yeah.
Future.
so size.
A movie I've
that's,
watched.
That's diner restaurant is all.
Yeah, I think so.
Size.
And I think it kind of somewhat defines menu as well.
Seinfeld.
Okay.
Is that a
Seinfeld,
that
That is a diner.
Okay.
There's a diner.
That's
Okay.
a large diner, but that's
Yeah.
a diner. Yeah.
Okay.
I would also say Waffle House is also almost street food. Like street food is a big thing now. They're almost
Yeah.
street food, except inside.
I got you.
Almost.
You have to, if you were to describe Waffle House to somebody,
Right.
it would be the worst place. They would never. Ever
Oh
go.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like you have to experience it. We
Right.
had at Passion one year. We met on the what's it called? Not Subway. Oh, on MARTA
In Atlanta?
in Atlanta.
Yeah, the
MARTA. We met a dad and a son
Uh-huh.
from Norway or Finland or one of those countries up there,
Right.
and we told them about Waffle House, and they're like, "What is Waffle House?" And we're like, "You just got to go." So we just took them to Waffle House.
Nice.
This is Waffle House.
It's hard to. I mean, it's not really a.
Is Waffle House only in the South?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they like Midwest a little bit.
Because you think like there's places that Sonic aren't at within the United States or
Zaxby's is on it.
Yeah. So I didn't know if that was well known across.
It is
they-
hard to explain.
They
I
go,
mean,
so there's a similar place called Huddle House, or
Mm-hmm.
there's a Huddle House, and then something else that are similar to Waffle House.
I've
there's
never heard
like
of Huddle
a
House.
there's
Huddle
a
House is
oh
in
yeah
There's one in Scottsville, Kentucky.
there is there used to be like going towards Memphis. There used to be Stuckies.
Stuckies.
Never heard of that one
It's
either.
like a yeah.
That's like a truck stop, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
Buc-ee's?
it's kind of like it's
Buc-ee's?
No,
Did we say
it's a
Buc-ee's?
lot smaller.
It's
It's a
Stuckies.
lot smaller, but yeah, they were like all when I was younger because I have family in Memphis. They were all like on almost every exit, like down I-40, where like Stuckies was like a breakfast spot.
Walgreens for food.
Yeah,
But yeah,
usually near a truck stop. Yeah.
Waffle House is normally south. Like, I don't think there's any in St. Louis, or maybe they kind of stop around St. Louis.
Yeah.
And once you go out west,
Yeah.
like there's none. I know Kansas, like there's none in
It's
Kansas.
probably the best for them. Probably the best.
So it stops somewhere between Tennessee and Kansas. They cut out.
Yeah.
All right, that has nothing to do with Job.
Interesting, huh?
It is.
Was
isn't
it enough
Yeah.
to where we could make two
Yeah.
episodes?
Yeah,
I'm not sure about
We just
that.
keep on going.
20 minutes right there. I mean,
It
it's-
is.
a Waffle House episode.
I like it.
Waffle House Ministry. What
Yes,
name
yes.
the Waffle House Ministry? But let's get into Job, because we will never finish if we don't. But chapter 16 is where we are picking up. Where did we end off here? Let's see.
reply.
We are getting into Job's
Job's
reply.
reply.
We did tease that at the end of the last episode, read the first verse or so of Job's reply, and Eliphaz kind of brought his stuff against Job, and now Job is kicking back.
He's a little upset. He's going to lash out a little bit.
These next couple chapters, there is a lot going on in these next couple chapters, and we'll see how far we get, because we don't want to skip any good stuff, but man, it's a lot. It's a lot. So let's, chapter 16, going to be a little bit of reading right here for a second, because we don't want to miss that good stuff. This is Job speaking. He is giving his rebuttal against Eliphaz. We'll start in chapter 16, verse number 2. I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Talking about all three of his friends that are with him. Shall windy words have an end? That's a great line. Or what provokes you that you answer? I also could speak as you do if I were in my place. If you were in my place, I could join words together against you and shake my head at you. I could strengthen you with my mouth, and the solace of my lips would assuage your pain. Is that how you say that? What's your... Y'all have assuage your pain?
I do not have assuage.
What's it say?
I do not. The end of chapter, the end
mine
of verse
does
5.
Mine does say assuage your pain.
Does it really?
Mm-hmm.
Mine says, but my mouth would encourage you. Comfort from my lips would bring you relief.
Bring you relief.
Well, since we're stopped right there, verse 3, when he says, shall windy words have an end? Is that basically him just saying, like, are y'all ever going to shut up about this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd say windy words are like when you get angry and you know what you sometimes when you're angry, you throw your words at the wind, right? You just throw them.
Well,
it's
either
like
that
you don't
or I
really
was
mean it. You
spewing
don't really mean
hot
what
air.
you're saying.
Talking
Either
in
that or I was
circles,
thinking of like,
kinda.
you know, you say like you're long-winded. So I was thinking maybe they're
Spewing
also,
hot air, that's
they were just
good.
giving a bunch of references to this topic and just keep on going.
Yeah.
I think also too, I heard this in a sermon I was listening to today. Job's wife, you could classify her words as windy words when she says, I mean, she's just lost her 10 children too. So
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
also an anger. So
Yeah.
she's just throwing her words in the wind. Like
Yeah.
it's, what she's saying is not correct, but she also wouldn't be saying it.
She's
That's
in
not her
mourning.
normal
I got you.
character.
She's in
Yeah,
mourning.
That's not her normal character.
Right.
So she's just kind of throwing those words to the wind. And
I got you.
sometimes you just let them ride with the wind.
Yeah.
That's something we have not talked about. His wife accused and say, just curse God and die already, Job.
Yeah.
Then we
Because-
don't hear back from her. These
'cause all
guys
you
are
hear-
sitting there for 7 days.
Yeah.
Right.
They're having this big, long conversation that
Where is she?
we would
Well,
guess
all you
is
hear
kinda
is
heated.
her
Where
reference
is
to
she?
him. Like, why are you acting this way?
Yeah.
It's never about, there's no back and forth of what is her, like, what is she going through?
Like,
Well,
is
it
she,
also-
is she like inside, like looking out at them saying, oh, they're still
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, probably.
Man, you've been out for 7 days? What are y'all doing?
They're still going at it.
Where is his wife?
Sorry,
in this?
Ty,
Yeah.
cut
Are
you
they
off.
out on the porch? And she's in there like, whew, those guys
No, I
are
was-
still talking.
This when he responds to her after, this is going way back. I don't want to spit. We're on 16. Not
No,
going on
you're
2,
good.
Go
but,
back.
No,
Hey, if
please
it's
do.
good, we want
Yeah,
it.
man.
Bring it in.
Yeah.
But it says, she says, "Do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die." But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women would speak." He doesn't call her a foolish woman.
Right.
So it's saying like, "Hey, this." Like I said earlier, this is out of character for her. She's in
Right.
mourning, like you were saying. Like this is not who
Yeah.
she is. She's angry, frustrated, sad.
Just lost 10 kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, losing
her-
one kid. is-
Right.
And she's seen her husband go through these boils, and I
Right.
mean, it's
And
Well,
it seems like he's more. It's not like they're, and maybe they are. It doesn't. It seems like they're not like together, going through it together. It's like there's space. Like Job is out in a pit of ashes,
Right.
and she's like maybe inside. I guess I don't know. It doesn't
Well-
seem like they're going through it.
I said she lost 10
Side by
kids, but
side.
she lost everything he lost.
Yeah, they're not
right.
going through it
Like,
together.
All of her,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
all of his wealth was her wealth.
exactly.
Right.
She lost everything he lost,
Yeah.
other than he's now afflicted in his body, and she is, we assume, is not. But yeah,
That's interesting
Where's
that-
she been?
There's
Yeah.
no reference to her.
That's a good. That's a.
I mean,
good
the story
question.
is about Job, but
Right.
yeah, where's she? All right, let's pick it back up. Chapter 16, verse number 6. If I speak, my pain is not assuaged, and if I forbear, how much of it leaves me? Surely now God has worn me out. He has made desolate all my company. He has shriveled me up, and he has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me, and my leanness has risen up against me. just describing how low he is. Everything now, including his body, is gone. God's against him. And his friends are, I mean, they are ganging up on him 3-on-1, he feels like. He kind of moves on a little bit. Verse 10, men have gaped at me with their mouth. They've struck me. This one caught my attention. Men gaped at me with their mouth. They have struck me insolently on the cheek. They massed themselves together against me. Was he physically hit on the cheek? Or is that a tongue-in-cheek reply to all the things that are stacked against him? That one kind of threw up a question mark in my mind there.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine he's still got to go out and conduct business. After his kids die, the animals are gone, everything's gone. He's still got to conduct business. He's got to get food. He's got to do
live
whatever
somehow
he's got to
at that
do
point
to live life.
But man, do that, and then also all this like depression that's building up.
I was at ease, and he broke me apart. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. This is Job talking about God. Job was at ease. God broke him apart. He said his anger, he set me up as his target. His archers surrounded me. He slashes open my kidneys and does not spare, pours out all my gall on the ground. So
Pretty
not
graphic.
only is everything I had gone, he is literally taking my body apart piece by piece in very graphic detail.
Yeah.
Here.
Cut it open. And, yeah.
So Job is just talking back to his friends, the rebuttal of, you guys are against me. Here is everything I'm really going through, whether you choose to believe it or not. And chapter 16 for the next few chapters, chapter 16 may be the easiest chapter we're going to cover as far as some of the stuff that's said. But skip ahead to the end, verse number 22. For when a few years have come, I shall go the way from which I shall not return. I was I didn't understand that when I was first reading it. It was kind of wordy and didn't make sense to me. So I did a little bit of research.
Like, what is the path of no return in his?
Is he talking about after I get over this, I'll go on a new path? Like I'll start a new fresh path. So eventually I'll get over this.
Or is he talking that he's not saying he'll like go to hell or anything? Is he?
He's talking about his physical death. Really, he's talking about the length of his life. Okay. So when a few years have come, he's saying that is my entire life. That is the number of days God has appointed to my life, basically. I shall go the way from which I shall not return is I'm going to die. When we as human beings die, we never return from that. That's a path we can never come back on. So that's what he's talking about there.
Yeah, mine has a note to chapter 10, verse 21, which says, before I go, I shall not return to the land of darkness and deep shadow.
Yeah.
I also, too, wanted to point out, in 17, looking at this Bible Project poster that they have, it talks about Job's argument is that he's innocent and that his suffering is not divine justice for sins that he's committed. And you see it in 17. He's gone through all the things that God has done to him. And he says, in 16, my face is red with weeping and on my eyelids is deep darkness, although there is no violence in my hands and my prayer is pure. And that just shows you he is blameless and he is righteous in God's sight. He has not sinned, even though his friends think he has.
Right.
Just to wrap up, this is one of the commentaries about chapter 16, verse 22. Then I shall go the way whence I shall not return. That is, to go the way of all the flesh. Death itself is meant. You're going out of this world into another, and there's no return. You're never going to come back to the same place, conditions, circumstances, and everything that you have here on this earth. So he's talking about his physical death, that his time is short. He's blameless as far as he's concerned. He hasn't done anything wrong against God. And he's ready to die. Let's end this journey.
Yeah.
Moving on to chapter 17, I want to highlight the title here. We've talked about the titles, a couple that have been added here to the book of Job. because they give a little bit of context, a little bit of summary to what that chapter is about. The chapter for verse 17, where is my hope? Where's
Exciting.
My hope? This is still Job continuing. If you look back a little bit, chapter 13, still I will hope.
Got me on the edge of my seat. What's coming?
Chapter 7, life has no hope. You know, Job is in these discussions with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
He is searching and grasping for the hope that he believed in.
Absolutely.
With God. But where then is my hope? Chapter 17.
And I guess, sorry, before you start there, just what's so disheartening, I guess, to him is that he really expected his friends to kind of be on his side, I guess, ultimately.
He was looking for support, I think.
Right, and not what they brought to him has been...
Yeah, they're kind of coming at him.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, well, you must have done something wrong.
Right,
Like, there's
something
no way... Which it's flawed thinking. But they're saying no way God would punish someone that doesn't deserve it.
Right.
And it's obviously theologically incorrect, but it's also probably to him it's like a shot to the heart. It's like,
it is. And it's not just one of them. It's like
it's
all three of them are all, coming at them the same way.
Ambush.
Like,
And we have the benefit of a narrator, giving us insight into conversations between God and Satan. But God is not punishing Job.
Right.
He's allowing the devil to afflict and do things to him, but God himself is not doing this to Job. He's just removing some of the protection that Job was used to.
Wouldn't that be God?
I think they're allowing it to happen and you doing it are, I think, two different things. God is not, Satan is going against Job.
But doesn't God have commandment over Satan too?
Yeah, because Satan couldn't touch Job without God.
Right. So
permission.
He's through
allowing it.
He's
through him.
He's not physically
it,
doing it, but he's kind of letting it
he
go.
He kind of is doing it, which is
he's
through Satan.
Right.
Right? Like that.
But
the sovereignty of God wouldn't have Satan do something that God isn't doing or wouldn't do.
God is allowing Satan to act. God is not directing his actions. God is not saying, Satan, you go do this to Job. He's giving Satan free will the same way he gives us free will to follow him or not. He's giving Satan free will to go do what he wants to do against Job under still under the authority of God, because at first it was don't touch his body.
Yeah.
And then afterwards on the second, he's like, you can touch his body, you can't kill him.
I'd love to know what other people's opinions are of this.
Well,
send it in.
And then, Job says the Lord gives and the Lord takes away.
Yes.
So, and then the next verse is, in all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. But obviously, he's talking about God's not wrong in doing this, but isn't he saying God is doing this?
So we say the same thing. That's from our earthly perspective. That's why I say we're kind of privileged to have insight into what God and Satan were talking about. Because what we see, we're going to attribute to God. Good, bad, and different. We're going to attribute that God did this. God gave me cancer. Why did God give me cancer? Well, in the Job story, God did not give him any of these afflictions. He allowed Satan to do it, but God was not the one giving that out.
Here you go. Here's another playing devil's advocate. I guess is that? Am I literally playing devil's advocate right
now?
No.
I hear what you're saying.
We're here for the discussion.
Verse 3, and the Lord said to Satan, chapter 2, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He still holds fast his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him.
My take on that would be, when God is saying, you incited me to take away the protection I had against him.
Right. So then, therefore, isn't God doing it?
I would still say it's...
I think...
All right, so let's spin it like this. And this is a great conversation. Where have you been?
I'm just soaking it in like a sponge. I'm like, Oh, hold on. What?
No, I'm not trying to I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to.
Zach and Brandon over
Ty
here.
will never be back on this podcast again.
No,
I'm just kidding.
exactly.
You're
this
doing
is-
fantastic
this
over there.
is-
This is exactly what we want.
It's like
This is the-
we always say when we read something, and then we read it and read it and read it, and there's always something different. And this is
the
this is
discussion we want because this
Exactly,
is where
yeah.
growth comes from. And I'm not saying either one of us is right or wrong. That's
Right.
why
Yeah.
we're
I'm just
saying Brandon Shanks brought basketball and golf to the conversation, and Ty is bringing spiritual growth. So,
Good job, Ty.
what was my point? Where were we?
Shanks,
I would
step
say
it up.
Chapter
I'm
two.
not bringing it.
All right. Oh, so
2 verse 3 at the bottom.
So here's a spin on it. A coach, pick a sport. A coach tells the players, "Here's what we're going to do." Let's go basketball. Full court press. The coach gives the direction and the guidance. The coach doesn't go out there and full court press. The coach doesn't score any points. But under his authority, the team goes and acts under his guidance. He's not the one doing the deed. He is the one giving the framework for here's the plan. You can go.
My response to that would be
But wouldn't that
God
be him?
has more
God is bigger and greater
authority than a
everything.
coach.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
he has more power than a coach. So
Of
he
course,
would
yeah.
go into, but my thinking here is, if God is divine and sets out the universe the way He wants it, and He is sovereign over it all, and He has control over everything, even though, like you're saying, I understand, like He is allowing Satan to do this, because later on, the next time, Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with loathsome swords.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see, okay, Satan is doing some of this to Job, and God is allowing that to happen. My thinking from that, though, is by allowing it to happen, God is doing it, but He's using it for good. Like when you look at Job as a whole, which I know we're not there yet, we see that God's divine intervention in Job's life, even though it has been bad and terrible, He's using it for good.
Right.
And so my argument is that even though He is allowing Satan to do it, isn't He technically therefore also
Ultimately
doing,
in control.
ultimately
of
doing it? Yeah,
Okay.
in control.
Because did you choose to follow God in your life?
Now we're getting to
Or did God choose for
we're
you?
going to talk about election.
You know what I'm saying? Like, did God know that Ty Dean was going to choose to follow him?
I would say yes.
But did you make that choice? Did he give you the freedom to make that choice?
We are talking about election now.
I mean,
But God knows all
things.
things, so He knew that He was going to make the decision
Right.
eventually, anyways.
This is a completely different
I mean,
conversation aside.
I think
from
it's
Job.
all
But yes,
related.
it
It's
is
all-
definitely
it's all
related.
related.
No.
I heard this analogy one time, and I'm still not sold. I like it, but I don't like it. It's maybe too childish. I don't know. But talking about the same kind of stuff, is God doing it, or did God just know about it? So he said, imagine a kid at the beach builds like a big mountain out of sand, and takes his hand and takes his finger and goes down the mountain, makes a little trench down the mountain, and he takes some water, pours it at the top, and the water follows the little trench. The kid he knows what's going to happen with the water. He knows where it's going to go. He could change it if he wanted to, but that's the plan he laid out for it. So he doesn't need to intervene because he already made the plan.
All right, so if the plan is set, then He made the plan, and everything that happens because of that plan is His doing.
He made the plan, but the water still acts for itself.
Yeah, but the water would still, but it follows that plan.
It does follow the plan, but the water is under its own action. Like the water is still the one running down the valley, running down the little.
But where would the
trough.
water be without the kid?
Well, God did create everything, so
Another here. This
So
is
what?
it's also
So you're
I'm
saying that God
is doing the action to Job.
is the one that's punishing
yes,
Job
yes,
ultimately.
yes. He's
God.
by allowing it to happen
Through Satan.
Yeah, by allowing
God
it to
is
happen, He
punishing.
is. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you're saying that
God allows Satan
God is
to
allowing
touch
Satan
Job, take his
touch
stuff
Job.
away,
Okay.
touch his body.
We all essentially are both saying kind of the same
This is
it's
where
just the
thing.
This is where church
Yes.
church arguments get this. It really frustrates me because this is not. It's important, right? It is important, but also it's not the foundation of what our faith is built on, right?
Right.
Jesus is what our faith is built
Yes.
on, and so
Right.
people get lost in this.
It's
what
our-
we're talking about.
But people
It's
that
our
don't
curious
people that
nature.
don't believe, they use this as a straight argument
Very
against. Well, if God does everything and God knows everything, why would He let that? Why would He let this person have cancer? Why would He let this person just die because a car came out of nowhere? Kind of thing.
Which that question isn't even answered in Job, by the way. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
Sorry.
it's our curious nature. We want to
Yeah.
be closer to humans. We all like being in control. We want to be in control. We want to know everything. We want to set our own path. But we, as believers, we follow God.
Absolutely.
We want to follow Him closer. We want to know more about Him. We want to know
Have
the
complete
mysteries of His creation. And that's going to continue for our entire lives. And we are never going to know all the mysteries of His creation.
Okay.
We couldn't handle it.
I've got
But
one more. Little,
it is ultimately doesn't matter.
right.
But the passion to follow God and grow closer to Him, I think, does matter.
Right.
And there's some stuff that we're just not going to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could sit here and argue about this all day, but
Right.
it's not gonna.
Yeah. And Job references some of that again of we can't know what God knows.
Right.
I think that's coming up in a chapter or two here. But
Last thing I was going to say on it is, if I take my dog outside, I have him on a leash. If I lengthen the leash, if I give him more leash, and he goes out and bites a kid, obviously my dog, right, will get in trouble. But then I will ultimately be at fault because I allowed my dog to go out there and bite that kid because I lengthened the leash. So if God has Satan on a leash, right, he's in command of whatever Satan does, and then he extends that leash and lets him go, isn't he? I'm not saying he's at fault because I'm not trying to say he's at fault for it, but isn't he doing it?
again,
That's just a little.
I say He allowed it to happen.
Analogy.
You allowed your dog to get too close to the child. The dog did the action. But you didn't tell your dog to go bite the kid.
But I would still get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I think it. Yes,
I'm not trying to say
Yes.
God's going to get in trouble for this.
Yes, yeah. That it's a little
because
little
he's
different.
God, and I'm.
little, but yeah, I would say,
Yeah.
you allowed your dog to go take whatever action he wanted to take, and
That's the problem with analogies, is because
Oh,
we try to
yes.
put human
No.
perspective
Yeah.
on it, and it's
impossible.
eternal
It's a-
perspective,
yeah.
and it's something. God.
But isn't the whole point of
that's why
Job? Isn't the whole point of Job though? Is that he said you can do whatever you want to him. He's still going to come back to me.
yeah, I mean, he still put conditions on. You can't
So
at the beginning. You can't touch
kill
his
him.
body,
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
and
can't
then
kill
the
him.
second time you
Right.
can't kill him.
Right.
that's what I'm saying. He put him through a trial to see to prove a point. So like what you were saying, even though all these bad things happen, it's still to prove a point to come back to where he's going to be.
Well, like God, not God, like Zach Edson said about
Oh
God.
gosh, Zach's not allowed to watch
He's
this
gonna take
episode.
that and run with it.
Yeah.
like Zach.
So I'm God.
Zach is a 3. So there might be, Zach is a 3. So
Like-
is Daniel, though. So.
Like Zach said, how much confidence did God have in Job that he knew Job is going
Exactly.
to go through all this stuff,
Yeah,
and he's still going to be for me.
Right.
exactly.
I mean, that's where the oversight, the view of the knowing the outcome helps what you're going through in the moment kind of deal.
Yeah.
But-
Which is kind of why I think I'm like with him a little bit. Like, I agree that God allowed this to happen, but it was to prove a point to show Satan, you can do whatever you want. Job's going to come back to me. He's going to show that he is faithful to me. No, you can do anything except for all of these restrictions, but you can do anything and he'll come back.
Yeah.
Great discussion, Ty. Keep on coming back.
It's good.
We ain't going to make chapter
Really good.
20 probably, but
Sorry.
hey, I think the discussion is better than the progress. But that's great stuff.
It is.
We're at the top, or were we at the top of 17?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we just
think
made
we-
it through one
we-
chapter.
We just started.
we made it.
17.
We made it
This
into
is
one verse into
yes,
17.
yes. The pace is definitely.
But the discussion is elevated.
Well, that's the point of
Great.
this.
Discussion has
Yeah.
increased. The pace is. We're at one chapter in 46 minutes.
This may
Granted, we talked for 20 minutes.
this
to
may
start
be
it,
the
so.
best episode of the Job study yet with the discussion.
Might be.
So.
Might be. No offense to Zach and Brenda.
To start off chapter 17, Verse number 2, surely there are mockers about me, and my eye dwells on their provocation. That caught my attention a little bit. There are mockers about me. My eye dwells on their provocation. I didn't know if that was a earthly thing where, he talked about getting hit in the cheek earlier. Are there people mocking him, showing up, coming to see the spectacle? The greatest man in the East is now sitting in a pile of ashes over here.
Yeah.
Got another picture.
I was going to say chapter 17, verse 1, it almost like he immediately repeats himself from chapter 16. So he's making it a point because he says in there, it says, my spirit is broken, my days are extinct. He's immediately repeating himself just in a different phrase. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be out.
In my, through these first 17 chapters, the word mock, that's how that seems to be how he describes his three friends. He's thrown in mocking, several times. So I think it is, I don't know if it's, around town or directly aimed at his three friends that are there who are coming down on him.
I mean, this is a response to his friends, so I'd say that he probably is going right at him too.
Right.
Listen.
One commentary I read said he potentially was seeing demons at this point, kind of possessed, because chapter 17 starts, my spirit is broken, my days are extinct, the graveyard is ready for me, I'm about to die, is what he was feeling in that moment. And then when he says, there are mockers about me, one of the commentaries I read said he potentially could have seen, he was being plagued and mocked by Satan and demons running with Satan. So he said maybe this was visions and things of those demons actually toying with him and mocking him, that kind of thing, where he was... When I read that, I said, that is a we know he's being tormented, all the stuff taken away from him, all the physical stuff, but why would Satan not mock him mentally and emotionally and, kind of like a bully on the playground? When I read that, I was like, man, that's kind of a different take on that verse.
Kind of random question. So all this stuff happens basically on his property, right? Like when his family passes, when his family dies, his sons and everything die, that's all on his property, right? I mean, it doesn't ever say that, but we just assume that's where it's at.
His kids lived on his estate.
Yeah. So really, do you think the only people that know all this stuff happened is his three friends and his wife and his servants? Or do you think people of the area, like other, just people of the town or whatever he's living?
I would say it's a big deal. He was the greatest man in the East.
Yeah.
Right.
So because it doesn't talk about that really, like anyone else knowing of this situation happening.
I mean, name a big celebrity. Now, media and stuff is obviously not the same and the way news travels. But if a huge celebrity, something happens to them today in Europe, we're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
Or wherever he was the greatest man in the East. And if everything he has is taken away, people are going to find out eventually. Yeah. I mean, his three friends traveled from who knows how far away to come be with him. But they had to make an appointment. They made an appointment before they even left to travel.
So they had to travel then.
So news went pretty far.
And if the servants are bringing him telling him about it, they've got to travel too. Obviously, it's on his estate, but we talked about how big his estate is, right?
Right.
So they were going to encounter people along the way too. Yeah. Probably.
Right.
Did you hear what just?
Right.
Look what just happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if he's the greatest man of the East, then there's people that are obviously paying attention to his life and know what's going on.
This is being told.
They want to be like him or be his friend, or they might be against him. Maybe he has a competing business or something. But
that's funny you say what you said about all the stuff that he's fighting, because in 17 verse 10, he kind of references, he says, my version says, but come on, all of you, try again. I will not find a wise man among you. Makes it seem like to me maybe that he's talking about more than just those three people in front of him that he was battling, obviously Satan Yeah.
I mean, we battle Satan in our lives.
For sure.
We don't
Absolutely.
recognize it, or maybe we just choose not to acknowledge it.
Right.
But we are in a spiritual battle ourselves, and who's to say it's not something we see or think or dream about, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Many forms.
Verse
Here you
number
go.
11. Sorry, Ty. Go. My days are past. My plans are broken off. The desires of my heart. I mean, it kind of continues on like the same thing. He's battling everybody. Come on, my plans are gone. My days are past. Everything's broken in me. Let's go. I'm here for you.
I was going to go to 6. He has made me a byword of the peoples,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and I am one before whom men spit. So I'd
Right,
say
yeah.
that people know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it goes back even in chapter 16, talking about getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
They struck me. Men
No,
have
you're right. You're
men
right.
have gaped at me. So
Yeah.
he's kind of like a sideshow now. What they
Circus.
use? A circus.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Let's move on here to chapter 18. Bildad jumps back in the fray, and Bildad is bringing accusations again. I'm stuck on these headings for all these chapters now for some reason, but God punishes the wicked. It said, Bildad speaks, and what he says God punishes. So again, bringing the accusations. Job invited.
You must have done something.
Job invited. He said, "Come on, I'll go against all of you." And Bildad said, "All right, here we go." But he jumps in pretty hot here. This is Bildad. How long will you hunt for words? This is
I
kind
love
of
that.
this is kind of important here. The first few chapters or first few verses. How long will you hunt for words? Consider, and then we will speak. Why are we counted as cattle? Why are we stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself in anger, shall the earth be forsaken for you, or the rock be removed out of its place? So here Bildad is accusing Job of not answering their arguments directly. They think that Job is looking for arguments on other matters. So he's deflecting the conversation, they feel.
I think he's deflecting the part. I think they keep accusing him of stuff. And he's like, no, I haven't. And I think that's where he's saying, like, you're not answering the argument because you're not accepting that you have done something. He's like, no, I haven't done anything. That's what you're not understanding.
They're arguing two different things. They're looking for the answers they're looking for. They're having different conversations, really.
Yeah.
But that's making each side kind of more and more frustrated.
But the argument on both sides is clear to them. Like they're saying,
They
you
both think they're
obviously
right.
had to do something.
Yeah.
There's no way he would do this to you. Clearly, you've done something. And then the other side, Job's like, well, clearly you're not understanding what you're talking about because I did nothing.
Yeah, they both think they're right.
They're trying to find. Yeah, they're trying to find out why God has done this to Job, and Job is saying, "I don't know why. I haven't done anything." And they're like, "Well, you must have done something." So their conclusions are almost
Sounds like Daniel in a horse game.
incorrect.
With the rules.
And
I don't know if that's true at all. But
See, already arguing.
I will say too. I heard. In
I
one
said
of
I
the,
was terrible. I offered a bunch of excuses, but the first thing I said was I was terrible.
in one of
All
the
funny.
commentaries I listened to, it talked about how you have. Give me their names again, Ryan.
Eliphaz.
Eliphaz,
Bildad,
Bildad, and then
Bildad. Oh.
Zophar.
Zophar.
Zophar. Yeah.
You have them. Their responses are shortened because of Job's answers, right? Like it's almost like Job is like shutting down their arguments, and
Right.
so they have less and less to say as time goes on. Like you see, at
Right.
first they're like 2 chapters, and then
I was gonna
as
say
they
that.
respond, they're getting less and less. And I don't think
Right.
Zophar doesn't even come up later on, but
Yeah.
I was going to say, based on what you see one chapter based on what they're telling Job, but then Job comes back with like 2 chapters. He's just longer winded with it.
and 2, they get angrier and angrier. Like they
Right.
get. I mean, right here you're saying like, right here he's like, I mean, almost berating Job right here. Like I mean, it's brutal. It's like
Well, you see
And
from
you
the
see-
beginning, you see how much it changes because in the beginning they're there for him,
right.
the sympathy of all the stuff you just lost, and now they're kind of like, get over yourself.
And it's
Let's-
almost like
come on.
you know how like when you're in an argument with somebody and you're winning,
Yeah.
the other person almost gets louder and angrier, right? Because they know that they're being beat,
Right.
but they can't come up with a better argument.
Right.
And so they get louder and angrier
Right.
and shorter because they're like, well, I'm.
Sounds like conversations with my daughter.
Well, you're just stupid.
And in all this
Yeah,
too,
you're
I mean,
just wrong.
they think that Job is talking over their heads. I mean, the most of it too. I mean, and the things that Job is saying compared to what they're, Job not admitting that he's, done something wrong or whatever. Just like it says, are we considered stupid in your sight?
Yeah. And I mean, verse number 2, he says, "How long will you hunt for words?"
I love that.
So Bildad is accusing Job. He's like, "You're just looking for made up. You're making
Right.
up whatever you want
Right.
Yeah.
to answer these accusations.
Right.
We're trying to help you, but you're just making stuff up."
And that goes maybe the ties like they're hunting for words, maybe saying that why do you have to give these long, drawn out responses to and not
Like, do you think he just
owning up to
continuously,
it?
he's just going to continue to hunt for words and speak to them until they change their mind, kind of thing? Like, that's what his hopes are
Yeah.
because he knows he's right.
Well, he
or-
thinks he's speaking truth.
Right.
He is speaking the truth as he knows it and believes it.
Right.
And he
Yeah.
believes it 100% with everything he is.
Yeah.
I feel like they're almost. They almost believe like a prosperity gospel. Like God's not gonna. If you do good, God's not gonna let you suffer.
Yeah.
But if you do bad, then God's gonna make you suffer.
Right.
Right?
He
It's
will
almost
keep
like
you
the.
accountable.
Right.
It's almost like the old ancient prosperity gospel that they're kind of believing in. The
Yeah.
friends are.
Right.
And to that argument, Job brings up in chapters past of you see bad people who go to their house every night and have zero worry. They prosper, they do all that kind of stuff, and they are wicked people.
Mm.
So if you believe that, you have to believe that a good person might have something bad come against them.
Right.
And that's me. That's Job's argument. If you skip down to verse number 8, this caught my attention too. Bildad's still speaking to Job. For he is cast into a net by his own feet. He's talking about giving examples now of people bringing stuff upon themselves. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walks on its mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel. So he's kind of telling Job, you got yourself into this. This is a trap of your own doing. You need to change what you're doing.
Yeah.
Skip down a little bit more. This one, I did some digging on this, and I have not come up with a good answer. But verse number 13, it consumes the parts of his skin. The firstborn of death consumes his limbs. I was digging for the firstborn of death, what that means, who that is, where that is. Came up with a couple of things, but man, no great answers that I felt good about. So when I first read that, I said, are they talking about Satan? Is he the firstborn of death? He was kicked out of heaven. We know he's ultimately going to be ended by God. Is he the first one that God kind of like, all right, you're lifespan may be longer than others, but he was the first one to kind of be kicked out there away from God, or is that somebody else? Is that something else? Is it Jesus? Is that Jesus is the first one to beat death? Kind of man, I was going all over trying to find where that is, who that is, what that is. I didn't find a good answer. I'm still digging on that one. But Revelation, if you flip on down the line there to Revelation 1:5, this says, actually I'm going to back up to about the middle part of verse 4. Grace to you and peace from him who is and who was and who is to come, and from the seven spirits who are before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, the faithful witness, the firstborn of the dead, and the ruler of the kings on earth. Little different phrasing. In Job, it is firstborn of death, and then Jesus, firstborn of the dead, which that made more sense to me. Jesus is the firstborn of the dead. He's the one that beat death with his resurrection. Little bit different phrasing, but very similar. Got nothing else on that, fellas. Just thought I'd bring that up for.
Yeah, mine just says firstborn of death, and then king of terrors in the next verse personifies the process and finality of death.
Yeah.
But that's not much help there.
So I'm going to continue to do a little digging. If you have an answer or some insight, man, send that to us. I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, that one kind of struck me.
More on, well, you might get to it, but I know we were talking about earlier as far as people knowing what's going on and stuff, but down in verse 20 it says, people of the West are appalled at his fate. Those of the East are seized with horror.
Mm-hmm.
So
surely,
the whole world knows.
Yeah, surely such is the dwelling of him. And then also just before that, just Bildad just taking major shots at him.
Oh yeah,
like in 19, he has no offspring or descendants among his people, no survivor where he once he lived. I mean, it's
Well, look at the end of 21.
Well, I mean,
such is the place of him who knows
Does
not
not know
God.
God.
Yeah.
Like, geez.
Wow.
that whole thing, pretty much from
mean,
verse 16 on through 21,
yes.
through the end of the chapter.
yes.
His memories, this is 17, his memory perishes from the earth, no name in the street, thrust from light to darkness, driven out of the world, no prosperity among his people, and no survivor where he used to live. Like, he has no descendants in
Right.
like, yeah. And then when it ends up, I mean, this is his drop the mic moment here for Bildad. Such is the place of him who knows not God.
I feel like Bildad has been like the hardest on him so far.
I mean,
He's coming
these
home.
are like his friends.
Yeah.
These are like his closest. These are the dudes that showed up when
Maybe they should have
when
stuck.
he has nothing.
Maybe they should have
I
stuck
mean-
to that week-long silence they had.
I mean,
better
accusing
than
him.
this.
This is what they came up with when they were thinking.
For a week.
accusing him of not knowing God.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I mean, like, you feel like
Goodness.
the first guy speaks up and then the next guy goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to build off of what you just said. So I get
Yeah.
worse.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to build off of him.
I mean,
so that's why it's getting worse.
it just seems like to this point they're just trying to like turn Job, like just try to just jab him enough to where Job finally says, "Okay, you're right. I believe what y'all are saying.
I mean,
I've done this that y'all don't know about or something. Admit to something that he's done, and that's been the cause of all this tragedy in his life."
You might have been gone, Ryan. We were talking about mob mentality and how when you get a bunch of people together, they're going to do stuff. They're going to egg each other on. They might do something that they normally would not do by themselves.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in a group where you're kind of ganging up on a person,
Good old peer pressure.
in an argument, if you're making a case against Ty and then you say something that jogs something in my head, I'll be, oh yeah, and this too.
Right.
You know, you're
Yeah.
just
Okay,
piling
yeah.
on.
Yep.
Especially if Ty's like defending himself
Yeah.
back to you and saying how you're wrong.
It's a good
in
example
it.
because Ty's the
So,
golden child, right?
Well, he does bring us
No.
free candy and
He does.
I like
He
it.
does. Warheads.
not airheads.
Warheads.
Bring us some airheads next time, Ty.
I didn't see you make a face over there when you ate that pink one, too.
He's a
No,
man.
it was okay. It was. I had to take a little step back off the mic, so it was. I don't like sour things so much. I'm soft.
Well, we're we're up against the clock, but I think we're going to try and go. Let's get through Job's reply, and then maybe we'll end up in chapter 20. We might let Zophar get the last word here, but I like chapter 20. Nice round number there to end the episode on. But
I like it.
Yeah.
Job replied. So Bildad dropped the mic on his. This is a place that of someone who doesn't know God. So Job comes back. This is a one chapter response for Job. Hey, man, it's a chapter though. Let me tell you, I pretty much have the whole thing highlighted. So he kicks it off in verse number 2. How long will you torment me and break me in pieces with words? I mean, that's kind of what Fano just said. These are his friends that came to help him.
I mean, if it gets any worse, there's going to be fists getting thrown.
Right. It's supposed to be like comfort, not accusatory. So it's just. I mean, it's.
Like, I'm waiting for fists to
rough.
get thrown or someone getting told, leave.
You guys
Get out of my get off my property.
I think, and I just had this thought when you said that. The they spent in silence might have been the comfort. And now they're coming together like, why did this happen? And
They're trying to fix the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're trying to fix it.
Right.
And now it's like,
Yeah.
well, what conclusion you're coming to is wrong because
Right.
I'm blameless and
Right.
righteous. And
Right.
he's not saying he is blameless. Right?
Yeah.
He's saying I haven't sinned. I'm
Correct.
like-
Yeah.
but
They're thinking tough love. Like, this is the truth. Come
yeah.
on.
They're
Which we know that, obviously.
yeah,
So.
wrong.
So Job says, how long are you going to continue to torment me? And he goes on, verse number 4, even if it is true that I have erred, my error remains with myself. If indeed you magnify yourselves against me and make my disgrace an argument against me, know then that God has put me in the wrong and closed his net around me. So Bildad, just a few verses before said that you messed up, Job. You've cast your own net and got trapped in your own trap. So all this, you brought this on yourself. And Job responds here with, I'm right. But even if I did mess up, I messed up against myself. But this is not something I did to myself. This is God, his trap, his net, his affliction that he allowed to happen coming against me. Ty's deep in study over there.
Yeah, I have.
Were you waiting for him to come back? Wait, hold on.
No, I have. I like
you were
that.
looking at me, and I was like, you weren't. What?
No, I was.
No, my commentary down at the bottom for verse 6. That's what you just read, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. I was making sure I wasn't reading ahead or anything. It says Job affirms that God is just, but also that his suffering is not because of his sin. It is God who has allowed or brought about his circumstances. That's just what mine said. But I thought I had another note on here about that, but I can't find it.
Down in verse 9, Job says, he has stripped me. He's talking about God. God has stripped from me my glory and taken the crown from my head. Verse 12, his troops come on together. They have cast up their siege ramp against me and encamped around my tent. I call to my servant, but he gives me no answer. That's verse 16. Woo, and then pretty much 17 through the end of the chapter, Job is bringing it right here.
Yeah.
But, Job is saying, this is not of my own doing. I did not do all these things. Bildad, you're saying this is me doing this to myself. This has nothing to do with me. This was brought against me by outside forces.
Back to 14, he says, like the end of 14, my closest friends have forgotten me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm talking to you.
And then
Yeah.
17, my breath is offensive to my wife.
Oh, yeah. That one's, it picks up pretty well there.
Those two are
I mean,
hard.
those,
But even that, so you were at 14.
yeah.
And he continues on in verse 15. The guests in my house and my maidservants count me as a stranger.
I
mean,
think he is like coming right at him. Like, you've forgotten who I am.
Right.
Like, have you not forgotten
Yeah.
I'm the blameless and
Right.
righteous, like,
Yeah.
and they're over here accusing him of stuff that he doesn't even, that they don't even know.
Verse 17, man, let's finish this strong here. Job he's ramping up. He got himself worked up here. My breath is a stranger to my wife. This is, I don't know which is worse. My breath is strange to my wife, and I am a stench to the children of my own mother. So that's his siblings. I'm a stench to my brothers and sisters. Even young children despise me. When I rise, they talk against me. All my intimate friends abhor me, and those whom I loved have turned against me. My bones stick to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on me. O you, my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. Why do you, like God, pursue me? Why are you not satisfied with my flesh? That's about half that response. I mean, he is pleading. I mean, everybody is against me, from my wife to my brothers and sisters, kids in the street, my maid servants. Nobody recognizes me.
I feel like this is the first time he finally calls them out on, like, why don't you believe me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, my friends, Why do you, like God, pursue me? This kind of, starting in verse 23, I really like this because, we talked about the title chapters, chapter 17, 13, 7, hope. Where's my hope? Still I hope. Life has no hope. Job is searching for all this hope and stuff, through these afflictions, which who wouldn't be? But this chapter 19, the title for this is My Redeemer Lives. Job replies, My Redeemer lives. So it's not a search. This first part of the chapter 19, he's kind of coming back and answering Bildad and what Bildad brought against him there. And then he kind of goes to, answers that. And then it's everybody's gone from me, from wife down to my friends, down to strangers and on the street. And now, verse 23, he kind of flips it. And he said, everybody's against me, but here's what I'm holding to. Mm. Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book. Oh, that with an iron pen and lead they were engraved in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will stand upon the earth, and after my skin has thus been destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another. My heart faints within me. So he's like, look, doesn't matter that everybody's against me. I know God's in control, and I'm going to see it when my bones are dust. He's still in control. I'm still going to see him. I'm going to stand right here next to him when he redeems me.
Yeah.
You can't touch me.
28 and 29, there's a pretty serious warning to those that
don't trust fully in God.
Correct.
When you lean on your own understanding.
Correct.
Here's what's going to come get you.
Yeah.
If you say, how will we pursue him, and the root of the matter is found in him, be afraid of the sword, for wrath brings the punishment of the sword, that you may know there is a judgment. So it's, very much a warning of, hey, I know I'm following God. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in what's happening to me. Right. I don't believe that I deserve it, but I'm going to follow God. And if you're not, better watch out. Yeah. Better watch out. So, man, great stuff. Great stuff. It keeps on being great here through chapter 20 and beyond. But maybe that's a good place to stop, kind of wrap it up for this episode. Let Job get the last word. I mean, my Redeemer lives. Why would you want to end anywhere else? Bam. There's the truth. And Zophar jumps back in.
He does.
Chapter 20, and they just keep going at it.
They're not going quietly.
They are not going
into the night. They're not stopping.
But
well, we made it halfway through the book.
Pretty
close to
pretty close.
Pretty
yeah.
close. Yeah, like one more chapter.
Ryan,
One more chapter. I'm sorry.
42 chapters.
2 more chapters. 2021. Sorry,
there
we're there. I might as well say we're there.
Great discussion today, though, and I mean that's what we want. If it takes however long it takes, the discussion, the learning, the going deeper that's what we want, and that's what happens. So
all about.
Thank you very much, Ty, for being here, bringing the heat.
Oh yeah,
it's good stuff, man.
Just questions.
Way to call us out. When I say call us out,
anybody out.
He did not call. Yeah, that's all we're doing.
It's all this. All the cool part is that we'll all find out one day.
Yeah, and if any of you have some insight on Job chapter 18, verse 13, send that to us because, man, I still don't know. The firstborn of death. I'm gonna be digging on that. The old Google machine might be my friend.
It's a good one. Sometimes.
Well, just like we gave Job the last word, today's Bible verse. We're gonna let him rock us all the way out here. Job 19:25. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will stand upon the earth. So put your hope in God, because ain't nothing else.
Absolutely.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I do want to say, if you've made it this far in the episode, thank you very much. Glad you're with us.
Thanks for sticking around.
We do have a guest. I talked to a guest today, so we may interrupt this study of Job. We don't have a date locked in. That's the issue. But we do have a guest committed to come on, and it's going to be good. Something we haven't talked about yet, so that'll be fun. But we're going to keep rocking with Job. We hope that you are rocking with us. Pick it up in chapter 20. Read ahead a few chapters there, and follow along. Love to hear your comment. If you have questions, if you do read with us through this, send us a question if you have a verse that stumped you, and we'll talk about it. We may not have an answer, but we'll bring it up.
Here you go. You can put this on the bonus part of the podcast.
The bonus.
The page in my Bible that we landed on is 666. So the devil's number, 666, right? The first verse on the page of 666, the devil's number, for I know that my Redeemer lives, and at last he will stand upon the earth. Coincidence?
I think not.
That's awesome.
You must
I
have
love
some
when stuff like that happens.
large font over there.
No, they take
I'm at page number 429.
they take half the page and put the
Commentary and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Well, we're glad that you were here with us. Come on back next week. Bring somebody with you, and spread the word. Do us a solid by doing that, and make sure you tell them we love them. God loves them more. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to GPS to God. Make sure you leave a rating or review on whichever app you happen to use. Also find us on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to our channel.